I mean, folks, if you don't see that this whole thing, this game has to come to an end, I don't know what you can see. So I say wake up, join the side of the light, join the side of humanity, join the side of good and right and moral. You know, but I don't like to be called not a humanitarian, a non-humanitarian, because I am opposed to endless immigration. I mean, America already has allowed legal immigration more in excess of all the countries on earth combined. To my understanding, this is what I've heard. And, I find that pretty outstanding. And we have to investigate why people want to leave their own countries, because it doesn't seem natural to me that people want to leave the land they're born into. People want to stay, but they want to prosper. Everybody wants to get ahead. Everybody wants to be free and liberated. Everybody wants to be happy, and everybody has a right to pursue true happiness. And I say true happiness because that's as opposed to false happiness, which is materialism, which is feeling secure in this world because of your monetary position. And it's a very dangerous state to be in. And we need to wean ourselves off it. And I'm everybody's friend. I want the best, not for some people, but for everybody. So I like to think of myself as a friend to the rich too. But if the uber wealthy are going to hoard, if the uber wealthy get insecure, you can imagine what happens. I mean, if we had a money flow, at least the flow that would go around, because the poor people, many people are happy with very little, and they will spend whatever comes through their hands. They will spend into the economy. So the idea of having wealth circulating is a good thing. But you've still got to let your cost of living decline. If your work week is declining by virtue of the fact that we're finding ever increasingly simple ways of producing more and more, just like factories, robotics, industrialization, mechanization, automation, all these things are part and parcel of these things. Adam Smith touched on this over 200 years ago. He saw the light. This was all coming, that this time would come. And really it should be a very good time for the working class, for the average man, because our jobs are so much easier. But they're not, because they've made it miserable by manipulating our economic reality, by manipulating our cost of living, by manipulating markets, by price fixing. Okay, that's how they're controlling us. They're put this debt they make up out of thin air. I mean, who needs trillions of dollars? Who are these people? I mean, these people are maniacs. There's no nice way to put it. They're behaving like children that need to be disciplined. And here's back to the idea of discipline. So this goes for everybody, not just for these top people, but all of us require discipline in our lives because we're all sinners. No person is any worse than another. We need to understand that. We need to love one another as ourselves. And if you say you care about yourself, then it's imperative that you care about others. And I want to talk about the importance of a good concordance. It's a great reference book. Any passages you want to find from Scripture, all you have to know is one word from it. But it helps to know a few, if you can remember. The more you can remember, the easier it is to find. And then the first one, you think you want to find a word that isn't too common, hopefully. Because the more common it is, the more verses you're going to have to look through. But let's take a word like discipline. Okay, I want to look up discipline, because the passage I'm thinking of is about how, the ones that God accepts as his own, he disciplines. And so I am looking up the word discipline. Here it is. And it doesn't look like there's too many definitions. Okay, it's disciples. Oh, there's a lot of those. But disciplines is right here. And I'm looking. I know it's somewhere in the New Testament. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, in Revelations 3:19, that's chapter 3, verse 19, those whom I love, I rebuke and discipline, is the reference. And for the word discipline, they just put a D in bold so that you know how that works. So, and here's some other ones. Okay, I'm into Hebrews now. Okay, Hebrews 12:11. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, making reference that later you reap the benefits of the discipline. And 12:8, Hebrews, and everyone undergoes discipline. And here is 12:7, Hebrews, endure hardship as discipline. And here's Hebrews 12:5, my son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline. And here's Hosea chapter 5, verse 2, I will discipline all of them. Jeremiah 46:28. Now we're getting into the Old Testament. Well, Hosea, I believe that's also in the Old Testament. I'm not sure about that one. But anyhow, Jeremiah. Okay, I will discipline you, but only with justice. 32:33, Jeremiah. They would not listen or respond to discipline. You know, I think that what we need to understand and take away from this is that discipline is a good thing. That we need guidelines in life. We need to know when we're off track. And somehow God has to reach us. He has to bring grief into our lives. Some way to make us repentant and sorrowful. And He has ways of doing that. And we all need to accept that. And the sooner we can accept that, the sooner we will have true humility, a very beautiful quality. So just because I'm an older fella at 55 and, a guy of 20, hey, I respect the fact that he's got all the wisdom of the ages at his fingertips. And I've spoken to more young people that are so bright and intelligent. They can really understand things that, I couldn't understand until just of late. But, we all really need to understand how we're being manipulated, why we're being manipulated. This whole idea of, the way they plan a city. I learned this when I was taking these real estate courses I took some years ago. But I learned about, this general planning of a city and how they'll plan, 50 years in advance or something. But a small number as opposed to planning 500 years in advance, 1,000 years in advance. Calculating the population, which is a calculable number, and it's not even difficult mathematics. But you just do the math and you say, well, wow, we're going to have nightmares on the freeway in this circumstance. So everything needs to be planned ahead, far ahead. And, just that simple understanding of how they don't want things to work right. They want chaos, they want problems, because without problems in society, these people are rendered irrelevant. They create problems where there aren't any. Not only do they want the problems in our society to be maintained, no, they want to proliferate those problems. They want those problems to flourish because that gives them job security in essence. It gives them a secure notion that they're in control. They're rendered relevant because of all the chaos, because of all the problems, because of the crime and the war and just these seemingly overwhelming issues like immigration, which is just a bunch of BS. I mean, how much do we hear the mainstream media humiliating the leadership of Mexico and saying, Mexico's a hell of a lot older than America. What's wrong with you people? Why don't you create jobs for your people down there? You got more billionaires than we have in America. Do we ever hear the mainstream media saying that? No, you never hear it, do you? Should you hear it? Yes, you should hear it. Okay, because it needs to be said. Okay, because I am a humanitarian. I'm the guy that's kicking and screaming. I am the bleeding heart, the quintessential bleeding heart libertarian. Okay, that I care about my fellow man. I really do. I see my fellow man that's going to die tonight out in the bushes somewhere. Okay, out in the cold, totally unnecessarily. Out in the cold, a native son too. Okay, then I speak out, and it affects me. I find it traumatic, and I'm glad I do. That shows I got a soul. And I wish it would affect you too, profoundly, all of us. None of us should be comfortable enjoying our prosperity. Well, our brothers and sisters, native sons. I mean, this is worse than what we did to the Indians. At least we made concessions with the Indians. They were part of the say-so in the Constitution of the United States of America. And they were given lots of land. I'm not saying what happened to them was good. I'm not saying that you giving them alcohol. I mean, they have a lower tolerance for alcohol, obviously, and just the whole societal how we screwed up their whole lives by doing what we did in the way we did. I don't, and none of my ancestors were directly involved in that. But I'm not defending what happened to the Indians, but I'm just saying at least we recognize them as native sons and we took care of them. So that's what I'm really trying to say about immigration. I don't care if the whole world wants to immigrate here, but let's make it a first come first served basis. No advantage, disadvantage for any reason. Not because they're so poor and they need jobs and our farmers need cheap labor. None of this BS, okay? And conversely, none as well. They're well moneyed, and we need we need money, and these people are going to rent the housing from us here, and these people are going to buy this and that. They're going to buy, they're going to take out loans, so the bankers like it. More debt, more they get to rent out more of their product. I mean, you start figuring out the business interests. They like it. They like unlimited immigration. The more, the better, because it makes business. You got to sell more food. You're selling more housing. You got a bigger tax base. I mean, let's all, we get it. We get it. I certainly get it. And I know the scam inside and out. And I'm tired of it. And I'm going to expose it as best and coherently as I can. Because I think it's important that we come out of darkness and into the light. And face the music. All of humanity, not just here in America, all over. I want to speak for everybody on this planet. Because I have the best intentions, the best will. And if I had my way, that's what you'd have. The first thing to do is end poverty. You start seeing all those other little minutiae issues, which I know it's horrendous, take an issue like abortion. You'll see that just dissipate slowly as people are free and liberated. Okay, from what? From this monetary-based reality that has been foisted on us, that's infected every facet of our lives. Okay, socially, psychologically, emotionally, every way, in so many nuanced ways, I cannot, I just touch the surface. But you have your own imagination and can understand how it affects you, your loved ones, your peers, co-workers, strangers, everybody, family. I mean, it just affects everybody. There's so much that these forces that affect us that we don't even realize. But we really need to understand. We really need to realize. And, we got to really understand, you got to get ahead of the curve with these wicked people that are manipulating us in every which way from Sunday. And to really understand what's going on here, the big picture. So yes, I say we end poverty on a grassroots basis. It's got to be that kind of discussion. When you get, whether it be a federal level, we're talking about ending poverty, a state level, a county level, a city level, or a neighborhood level. But that's where it starts. That's the grassroots mentality, philosophy I'm talking about. You talk about ending it in your own family. Ending poverty. Poverty is bad. What we want is prosperity. That's what will free us. That's what will render money irrelevant. Because what is it we're really after? We're after security. We want to make sure we're always going to have plenty of food. We're always going to have plenty of clean water. We're always going to have plenty of housing and plenty of energy. Those are the things we really want. Yes, we might want toys, a nice car. Yes, we might want nice electronics. Yes, we might want this and that and take this vacation and that, do this and that. And everybody should be free to do that anytime they want. And we, humanity corporately, together, okay, can work on projects, infrastructure projects of every imaginable type. And all those patents that are just shelved at the patent office all over the world could be released. Humanity would be free because there wouldn't be this idea of, it's about the money. That's why you get a patent. You sell the patent. It's very valuable. Or you buy that patent because you don't want a competitor out there and it's too close to your idea. Whatever, all that stuff is released. And all this clean, renewable, infinite energy, okay, would have no reason to be suppressed anymore. All right? It would free us from all this stuff. It would free us from the debt and the ever-increasing burden through the cost of living that we're all subjected to. This is bad. Think ahead a few generations. Just because you're doing good, think about your kids. Think about your kids' kids. Think about your kids' Okay, do you get it? And if prosperity is diminishing and on the decline, which it is, across the country and across the planet, I think we should all be alarmed.